Okay, we're getting ready here, and then I'll play as soon as it goes live, I will start the video. And hello, everybody. It's Steve Sandy and Marty Edwards and Dennis Sellers. We're all back for the second episode of AWT TV. And you'll notice that I've moved my office to Apple Park in back of me. I'm playing with green screen. I think some flickering, so I may not have to do this every week, but anyway, it's sure fun. And we've got a lot of things planned for today. Actually, quite a few good things going on. I just have to check one thing here because this is rather new, so I'm going to make absolutely sure that we are indeed live on YouTube right now. That would be a good thing, right, guys?
Yes, that would be a very.
Let's see here. Apple World today. Let's see. Where is? Oh my God. I don't know if we're live or not here, guys. Let's see. Oh, there we are. Yeah, we are on. Let's see. Oh, I have to go into. Yeah, there we are. We're good. Okay, it's let me turn off the sound on this so we don't have to hear it. But anyway, at least we know it's working. I'm looking at the screen now. I see three screens, so we're very good there. Gentlemen, how are you this evening?
Good evening.
I'm doing well.
Yeah, we're gentlemen, how are you this evening? And we have like a 20-second delay there. That was kind of fun to try there. Anyway, I'm doing well. It's been an interesting day. And it sounds like Mr. Dennis had an interesting one too.
Yes, I got to spend the afternoon with my granddaughter. The person who usually takes care of her on Mondays was under the weather, so she asked me if I could come and pick her up. So that was no problem at all. So, Steve, you beamed up to another planet, I think. So.
I think there's less flickering. It's a good thing. So I'm out in space right now.
Campus can really fly then.
A lot of our readers have said that.
That's a horrible thing. In case any of our viewers out there, I'm not sure we have all that many out there right now. The good thing is, I noticed last week, even though we didn't have all that many people watching the live stream, we did have a lot of people who watched it after the fact. So that's a really good thing to see, especially for the first week. It was awesome. So why don't you two guys talk amongst yourselves for a second, because I'm going to go out here to Twitter and kind of let the world know that we're live.
Okay. So Marty, how's the new MacBook working out?
Oh, it's working great. I love keeping the box right here. It just brings me much pleasure. It's actually on my wife's desk, and she's using it right now. We'll tell our viewers I actually went a little old. I bought the 2015 MacBook Pro, 16 gig of RAM, and that one because I still wanted Apple Boeing logo and all the various ports. But it's the fastest and most robust computer in the house. And it's really, really a great computer. I wanted to snag one before they're out of stock. And we were planning on getting an iMac, but wanted to go ahead and buy this. And after reading your article today, Dennis, I think we're going to have a bit of a wait. So I'm sure glad we got it.
Well, in case you're not familiar with what Marty's talking about, there was a report that Cannonball Lake, evidently the predecessor to Kaby Lake, the Intel processor that folks are thinking will, or were thinking that would appear in the next iMac and the next version of the MacBook Pro, has been delayed. That this seems to be a little uncertain as to how long. So, at least a couple of articles I was reading today posited the theory that new iMacs might be delayed till near the end of the year, and possibly updates of the MacBook Pro, which would have 32 gigabytes of RAM instead of the 16 gigabyte limit, might be pushed until early 2018. But of course, that's working under the theory that Apple would wait and go with Cannonball Lake instead of Kaby Lake. Cannonball Lake, I think, is supposed to be 15% faster. I'm a little dubious with all the outcry for Apple to release new Macs, that Apple would wait until 2018 or late 2017 to introduce new machines. But I guess if this article is correct that I read today, I think it was PC World, and if they're correct about Cannonball Lake being delayed and that Apple would decide to wait for that Intel chip instead of Kaby Lake, it's possible that new and upgraded Macs might be coming later rather than sooner. I think we'll find out once the Worldwide Developer Conference gets underway.
Yeah, one of the surprising things we were talking about a little earlier was Saturday was the 41st anniversary of Apple, which kind of an amazing thing when you think about it. They were actually incorporated on April 1st, 1976. And back in those days, of course, there were three people who kind of all got together: Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and if I can remember his name,
Ronald
I can never.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. And I've even met, he's the only. Well, I've met Woz before at one point too, but it's kind of funny when you think about it. These three guys. Probably the genius of the group is definitely the one who departed a little bit too early.
Well, back in that day, of course, I'm going to age myself here, but I was only 15 when they were incorporated. I knew about computers and the such like, but I was still in high school, couldn't afford one if I had wanted one.
Yeah.
So here we are now, 41 years later.
Yeah, and at that point, I was 18, turned 19 during the year, but I was 18 years old. I was a student at the University of Colorado in Boulder. And I remember in 1976, there was actually a computer store in town. It was over, I can't think of the exact street, but it was one of these shops. And this was kind of par for the course at that time. You would go in there and they had these glass cases, and there were all these circuit boards that were underneath the cases, and people would go in there and just ooh and ah at them. Well, it wasn't in 76. I think it was probably 1977, 78 when they got their first Apple II that they were marketing to the public in there. And that was just amazing to me. It was like, wow, it's a real computer. It's got a keyboard. It has, you don't have to piece it together from all these bits and pieces. Instead, you've got a real computer there. So that was really slick to see. Of course, being a college student at the time, I couldn't afford to buy one anyway.
Oh, yes, same here. I knew of computers, and I was telling my wife today, back then I was trying to figure out if we had anything computerized in our house. And, everything was analog, and the closest I could come, we had a programmable alarm clock just at the time, but it was mechanical. So an early interest in computers, couldn't wait to get my hands on one, but I was able to secure a TI calculator with the little red focused LEDs, and it was so advanced. My algebra and geometry teacher asked, can I see that? He had never seen one. And so it was really neat. And so he got me off, and here we are with MacBook Pro. And back to Dennis's original question, I believe this 2015 MacBook Pro is without a doubt the best computer I've ever used.
Cool. I feel that way about my iMac, and I bet Dennis does too. It's, when you get something that's that functional, that fast, like these are, they're just tremendous. And it's funny because I can think of all the back in the old days, feeding floppy disks in and out of a Mac, and I wonder how I had the patience to do that. Now it's like something doesn't come up, boom, like that, or if I see the spinning pizza of death, not a happy guy when that happens.
Why is my Netflix movie taking 10 seconds to load? What's wrong with technology these days?
Yeah, exactly. We've become so spoiled, we want instant. And before I forget it, since we've been talking about that day, I just got an email or saw it from, remember last week I showed you this keyboard that I adore, that I really like, the big clicky. I emailed them and used nice Apple World Today signatures and the such like, and told them what we do. I would love to evaluate their big clicky keyboard for the Mac. And they said, we would love to send you one. So they're going to send me one.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
And speaking of keyboards, I was real happy with this. This is I just hit myself in the head with it. This is the Logitech MK850 Performance. It actually comes as a pair with a real nice mouse too. And the cool thing about it is you can either hook it up over Bluetooth, or they have a little Wi-Fi dongle that you plug into a USB port and it connects over that. And I was having real problems with a Bluetooth keyboard. It was actually another Apple keyboard on this Mac Mini that's sitting over here, where if I had both computers up and running, occasionally that machine would actually interrupt my keyboard over on this device, and I couldn't type, or I had to actually unpair the keyboard and then pair it back up. Haven't had one problem since I tested this, and we actually have a review of that out on YouTube, the YouTube channel. So if anybody wants to take a look at it, great keyboard and great mouse.
Well, I've never had any problem with mouse and keyboards Bluetooth, but I have had. Of course, I've tested several speakers over the past several years, and I do occasionally have a problem with a Bluetooth connected speaker stuttering or sort of pausing in the music, and maybe it's because I have several Bluetooth devices running. But I've not noticed it with the Apple mouse or the Apple Magic Keyboard during my setup, but the Bluetooth speakers, sometimes I do get some stuttering.
Yeah, that's why I'm wearing a pair of, if I can remember who makes these. Oh, I'm horrible. They're called BT460s, and I cannot remember who makes them, but these are Bluetooth headsets, and I'm very impressed with them. I got to see if I can find the manufacturer name here. I'm so embarrassed. I can't think of who. You get so much of this stuff after a while, it all blends together. But really good Bluetooth headset. And I decided, since I was having issues with my wonderful Rode Podcaster microphone, I'm now using an iRig mic studio from IK Multimedia, and then these BT460 headphones, and seems to be working okay. You guys can hear me, I guess.
Oh yeah.
What do you say, Dennis?
I tell you they do.
Well, I guess I'm a little old-timey when it comes to tech. I try to avoid all wireless if possible, other than the Wi-Fi in the house. I didn't have Wi-Fi for a long time. I've got all wired mouse, keyboard, and as you can see, the headset, just to cut down on interference. I know it's not quite as neat, but the wires are a good, solid connection. And this is a cost headset. Amazon, I think $39, but it does a good job and, sounds decent, and I can hear well on it. But back to the original thought, look for a review of a big clicky mechanical keyboard, but made for the Mac. So they're going to be sending me one that I can review. So look forward to that.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, speaking of 1976, back at that point, I think I was still using, it was a really strange off-brand scientific calculator. And you have to understand the first year that I was in engineering school, they wouldn't let us use calculators. We had to use slide rules.
Mhm.
And then finally, my second year of college, they said, okay, we'll let you use the calculators, but watch it, And I had, it was a calculator, the big two at that time were the HP 35, and then TI had, I can't remember what it was, but they had one particular model, and those two competed. The HP people were all really fanatics about reverse Polish notation, which, would allow you to type in long equations much faster than you could on a arithmetic mode calculator like the TIs. And it was so funny because it was like two camps, it was the Apple and IBM, or Apple and PC, Mac and PC of their time. Really funny. But I had this thing that was called a Kings Point SC40. Nobody's ever heard of it. I finally found a website that actually showed one of these things. And, when I saw it, it was like, oh, there's my old calculator. Then after that, I went to a TI-99, which was a programmable, had a little card reader and everything. And then after that, when I graduated from college and was making money, I actually got it was an HP 41 CV. And that also, it had all sorts of peripherals. That thing was neat. And so that was my initial programming, I was doing programming for both the TI-99 and the HP 41 CV. Just love those things. And so it kind of kept me from getting into computers until I think it was 82, somewhere around there.
That's
Well,
odd you say that, because that was my first computer, 1982. It was a Texas Instruments TI-99 4A.
Yeah.
They had the little cartridge you would slide in. And then you and I followed similar paths. I got a Commodore 64, and I used it for real life work a lot. And so, but here we are today with all the Apple stuff.
Well, the first calculator I can remember seeing used I guess I was in 4th or 5th grade, and Jimmy Crockett came to class with a calculator, and it was probably about the size of a 9.7-inch iPad Pro. But I don't get it. I'm sure it wouldn't do advanced, calculations and probably add, subtract, multiply, and divide. But boy, were the rest of us jealous. With like, Jimmy must be rich. He bought a calculators.
I've had some of the kids of today ask me if my first one was an abacus, and yes, just there you go.
Well, I know my first calculator, the first calculator that we actually had in our family, I think my dad bought it in it was either 73 or 74. And it was same type of thing. It was 4-function. I have no idea what brand it was. It actually had green, I think it was green fluorescent display on it, which meant that the thing got horrible battery life. You'd put a battery, I think it took like 2 C cells or something like that. It was horrible. And the thing would just burn through them, but it, I think it could actually do percentages and square roots too, which was, amazing.
It may have been a Casio, because one of my earliest was a Casio with a green, and it was side, the keys were to the right of the display. And
I bet that it may have very well been a Casio.
They really used the green fluorescent. You're right, batteries were 1 per calculation, basically.
Well, now we complain when it doesn't go for 10 hours,
I know it.
I can remember pre-calculator having my dad, or doing my dad's income tax. He was self-employed, so ran a sawmill, and he would take all his receipts and everything and literally just dump them into a drawer. Then when tax season would come, he would dump them out on the table, and I would get my adding machine. If you remember those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a taxi. So when I was in the junior high, because I had to use that darn adding machine.
Ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, the actual, what I consider to be the first personal computer that I saw when I was a freshman at CU, in the physics labs, they had these HP. They were kind of large programmable calculators, and I think they used a form of BASIC, and they were actually pretty impressive. I mean, there were real wide, real big. They were desktop. You couldn't type anything into them. It was type much into them. It was a little keyboard that, obviously they weren't thinking about, user interfaces at those times. But it was really pretty cool. We thought that was really neat. They let us use them for some of the physics labs. But yeah, my first real computer, you talk about your TI-99 4A. For me, it was I had a Commodore VIC-20 for about a week, and then I said, I'm taking this back to the store. And in that 1 week, the price dropped so much on the Commodore 64 that it was actually able to return the VIC-20 and get the Commodore 64 and cash back. So that was pretty cool. And I think I used the cash back to buy the cassette drive.
I actually ended up with a floppy drive on mine, and I thought it was uptown. I could store it. And I actually used it to do a lot of word processing for our church and the church bulletin and print out things. My first printer, it wouldn't even do descending characters. If it was a J or a G, it had to set up on the line, but it was still
wow.
Anyway, so.
Yeah, the first real computer, I guess you could say, that I had was it was one of the really early PC clones, and that was probably 1983, but it was a Sanyo, if you remember Sanyo, MBC 555. It had 2 floppy drives. I don't remember how much RAM, but it wasn't that great. Funny thing I remember about it, though, was this, of course, being the early 1980s, everything was chrome, and it had a chrome front to it. Well, in Colorado, where we don't have a lot of humidity, if I went up to that computer and didn't ground myself somewhere else and touched it, the thing would reboot.
Yeah.
So you'd get zapped every time. Boom.
So, yeah, it's a nice walk down memory lane. It really makes us appreciate what we have now and how advanced they are,
Absolutely. Well, we had another anniversary this today, actually, which was the 7th anniversary of the introduction of the iPad. And I know I watched the live stream that they had of that. Dennis is nodding too, and Steve Jobs introducing it. It was kind of a watershed moment, because I think a lot of us were going, wow, tablets, it's like 2001: A Space Odyssey. And now we're finding that maybe they're not as popular as everybody thought. And I thought maybe that's a good topic of discussion here, is to really chat about that for a minute.
Well, I still use I have other iPads, but I've still got the very first generation. I bought it, but a year later. I waited till, didn't know if I wanted one. It went down $100 or so I bought one from the local Walmart and still use it regularly. I will often set it up something for my mother to listen to or watch, and it works great for media consumption for her. And so, I mean, it still works, it still goes. So I think the future of tablets is probably, I don't feel it's productivity. I'd rather use a computer. It is media consumption, or just when they get to the point you have one. I keep one. I walk regularly on a treadmill, and I keep an iPad Air on there all the time. I never take off. It's to listen to music or scan things while I'm doing that, but it just stays. I think if you can get to the point where you can keep one in a certain place, do a particular vertical job, that's where they're really handy.
Well, I'm the same way as you. I mean, I use mine, I guess, occasionally for a little productivity, but mostly mine is media consumption, reading, ebooks on it or watching a video, or a lot of times I use it as a second screen. The family's gathered in the living room watching TV, if we like where have I seen that actor before or whatever. I'll use it to punch up data, which is more convenient to do that on my iPad than it is to have my Apple, have a laptop and flip it open and do it. But I'm like you, Marty, and I think like you, Steve, I do most of my productivity on the Mac. To me, it's just still easier to do that. Of course, it's interesting. Apple is continuing to push the iPad as at least the iPad Pro as a laptop replacement in its new series, I guess, of mini ads, so to speak. And of course, Tim Cook has said Apple would continue to, push that as a PC replacement, but not as a Mac replacement, which gets in all kinds of interesting discussions. But yeah, at one point in time when the iMac, particularly when the 13-inch or the 12.9-inch iPad Pro came out, I was thinking, okay, this will be perfect. That can be my portable computer, and the iMac will be my desktop computer. But that still hasn't. Even though I don't have to use a portable that much, it's still, if I'm on the road trying to cover a show, like when I went to the Genf conference last year, there was just things that I could do on my MacBook that I just couldn't do on an iPad Pro. So I still use my iPad Pro, which I really like for media consumption, and my iMac is my work machine.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because I think I'm really wavering. For about a year, like as you well know, I kept saying, no laptop, I'm using that iPad Pro. But I'm finding that, occasionally you run into those situations where you're going, man, I really need to run this app or that app, and you don't have that capability. Yeah, there are a lot of apps that have both iOS and Mac versions, but there's always something left out, it seems like. Now, one thing I did want to bring up on the iPad that I thought was fascinating was something from, I believe it was Horace Did-You, who is an analyst who always writes about a lot of Apple things. And he made the good point. He said, the interesting thing is, maybe the reason that we're not seeing a lot of sales action in terms of the iPads is that there are still about 100 million of the devices in use. And he said a lot of those are older versions. And he said, maybe that's why Apple came out with the new iPad, the 5th generation iPad, with that incredibly low price, is to actually get people to finally say, maybe I better upgrade and actually have that capability of running iOS 10, being able to use Touch ID, doing all the other things. And, if that's the case, I think we're going to see probably really good sales numbers for the iPad.
I think one of the things that may have hurt iPad sales a little, I love using it, but the 5.5-inch iPhone is enough of a tiny tablet that often if I want to watch a quick YouTube or something else, it's fine. Just turn my phone landscape and watch it and not bother with the iPad. It's close enough.
Yeah.
Well, I just since you mentioned the new iPad, just for comparison's sake, I went and looked up the specs on the original iPad and the specs on the new iPad. So you make it for an interesting comparison. So the 2010 iMac had, of course, a 9.7-inch display, which the latest just plain old iMac has. The original had an A4 processor. It came in 16, 32, and 64-bit varieties with prices starting at $499. Its resolution was 1024 by 768, and it was running iPhone OS 3.2.
Wow.
The new iPod starts at the low-end configuration is 32 gigabytes with prices starting at $329. Screen size is the same, but the resolution now is 2048 by 1536. And it uses an A9 processor and runs iOS 10. So I thought that was interesting to compare the specs to see how much more power that we've gotten in the past, 7 years. And like a lot of tech things, the prices have actually gone down. So you get more bang for your buck. And of course, that's not even counting the iPad Pros, which are even more powerful than what Apple just now refers to as just the iPad.
Yeah, I'd love to see, I'm still hopeful, I guess I should say, that we will see some bump to the iPad Pro. Maybe they'll do it at I'm trying to think of the name of it, WWDC. Can you tell it's been a long day? Been a real long day. But yeah, maybe they'll introduce something at WWDC. That would be nice.
I'm hoping for Mac still, even though we just bought this MacBook Pro. I want to get my wife an iMac so she can have a regular desktop as well. And so we're looking toward that. I'm hoping in June as well, but I'm afraid Dennis's prognosis of October may be right.
Well, I'm they'll even if it's October before they go on sale, they might still preview some stuff. Although it will be interesting if WWDC, if they introduce new iPad Pros and new Macs, and they have to preview the latest version of Mac OS and iOS and tvOS and watchOS. So it could be the world's longest keynote if they do all that.
Yeah.
At WWDC.
Yeah, 4 days later, they were still talking. Yeah, I think, one thing I'm looking forward to, and there's starting to be some chatter, I guess you could say, out there about Siri really being improved this year with a lot of context sensitivity and the ability to almost carry on conversations, be able to, listen to what you say, and if it needs more information, be able to ask you for that. And it already does that a little, but this apparently would be much more complex. So I'm hoping that maybe we see an improved Siri announced at WWDC, that we see new iPads discussed, all sorts of good stuff like that. It'd be nice.
Well, one thing since our last broadcast last Monday night, Samsung unveiled their new flagship phone, the Galaxy S8. So I know that's not our topic, but it does compete head to head with the iPhone. So it's interesting to really, I think, in a way, see them, I'll say catch up. It's really a nice phone. But for me, any phone is just a slab of metal and glass. It's the operating system that brings it to life. And I use an Android as well. I've got one over here beside me. I just updated to Nougat. But, there's no comparison, the smoothness and how well iOS works for me. And I like Android fine, but it just seems a little busy and convoluted. And I love the whole ecosystem. I absolutely love doing something on my iPhone, finishing up on my Mac, or, entering a password on my phone. It shows up on my Mac. That it truly, the convenience factor in just working makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah, speaking of the Galaxy S8 there, I thought it was kind of interesting that, one of the features that they pushed was facial recognition. And apparently it doesn't take much to, if you take a digital photo, print it out, hold it in front of the thing, you can actually have it recognize you as the owner of that particular device, which is why Apple, we keep hearing that they're looking at having some sort of 3D sensor. So it would actually look at depth and everything else there, make sure it's a true human being instead of just a photo. So Apple does it right. They may not necessarily be the first to come out with a feature, but they sure do it properly, and when they do.
Well, I did have one more trivia note about the iPad, and when I was researching the stats on the original iPad, I ran across this note that said Apple actually began playing around with the idea of a tablet as far back as 1979 when they released, and I'd totally forgotten about this, or maybe I never was aware of it, but they released an Apple graphics tablet as an accessory to the Apple II. Now, I've picture of it, so I'm going to try to do, we're going to experiment. I'm going to exit full screen here and try to do the screen share and show you a picture, our viewers a picture of the Apple graphics tablet from 1979. So
If it doesn't go right, thanks for joining us.
All right, so I guess I'm desktop one, so. Okay, is that?
Hey, there
we go.
So that's the Apple graphics tablet, and this is I think it's the original iPad. So you can see the Apple graphics tablet was quite a bit bigger than the original iPad. But, so that's what one looked like.
Wow.
You remember that? You're doing better than me, because when I read that, I thought don't recall such a thing. So
I don't remember that at all. I wonder how many of those they sold. It'd be interesting.
I don't know. Since I'd never heard of it, that may mean they didn't sell that many. So now let me see if I'm back to full screen mode here. So
I just always wonder if that is, if the Newton was really kind of their first. If you want to look at tablets, it probably was their first true tablet. I have a cat behind me here.
I see that.
By the way, Pippin, who you see behind me today, right now is 3 years old today.
Well, no wonder. He wanted screen time.
Yeah. He wanted his birthday. I think you might need to go to the center of the screen at the top. There should be a stop sharing thing.
Okay.
That screen.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
There we go. Whoa, we're full screen.
Work in progress.
Hey, I tell you, in fact, it's probably a lot of people were going, what the heck is this guy doing? I think it was yesterday or Saturday, but I was fiddling around with trying some things. And I went out and was streaming to YouTube. And I bet there were a lot of people who were going, what the heck is this guy up to? They actually watched it. It's like a psychedelic cat behind me here.
They'll say, tune into the Space Cat program.
Space Cat. Yeah. Space Cat Pippin. Well, anyway, let's see if I can get him to sit in my lap here.
Happy birthday.
He is. Yeah, 3 years old today. And he actually, I'm so proud of him. He had his first hairball today.
He's growing up.
Yeah. My little boy is all grown up. It's truly sad, but.
Well, since we're playing around a little bit, I had a little bit of screen sharing demo, if you'd like for me to do that.
Oh, cool. What do you got?
Well, a lot of listeners out there have asked how that we record the screen of iPhones. It was actually Dennis. And but we were talking about how to do that. And me, you, and Dennis were, the best way to do it and everything. And I know a lot really did enjoy our video. So the way I screen share, I'll do like Dennis here. Let me go to desktop number 1, screen share here, and make sure this is going to work all right. Whoops, I've got a hot corner that puts the computer to sleep. I need to remove that.
I finally moved mine from, I think I used to have it in upper left, and I finally moved it to lower right.
Okay, are you seeing my desktop now?
Yeah.
I see a Mac.
Okay, so the way you record, and I know some are interested, we had talked with all of us about how to do this, is go to your Mac and open up QuickTime Player. So it'll open up, let me drag it over there, see the QuickTime, and it'll bring up the menu for QuickTime. I'll ask for, can you see everything before I continue on?
You bet.
Okay, great. So if you want to record your phone, hook it up by USB into, lightning cable USB, and go to File and select New Movie Recording. And then it will ask you which source you want. I'm recording myself, but I'm going to go down and select the iPhone 7 Plus. as my input. And suddenly there's my iPhone on the screen. And so I hit the record button, and you can probably see I am recording. You see the little indicator that it's getting my voice as well. So is my phone moving the icons and everything?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how you record. I'm recording a movie, and like if I want, I'm just using my iPhone, and you'll probably see at the top that whenever you record an iOS device, it always says that it is 9:41 a.m. and 100% battery. Always. I don't care the time of day or how much battery is. Apple puts that as a standard. It'll always
I
say
did
that.
not know that.
Yeah, it will always be that if you can look at the top. 9:41 a.m., which is not, and 100% battery. It's always that. And so whenever you're finished, just simply stop recording at the bottom here. And then I'll exit out, and it'll ask me what I want to file. I'll just call it a test. And it's going to save it. Shouldn't take but a few seconds. And there it is on the screen. So now let me just see if that quick time will play. I'll scrub through it here a little fast as you see.
There it is.
Yeah.
So that's how you record your iPhone or iPad real quick. So hopefully that little tutorial will help. And that might just show up as a tutorial video on our website. So let me stop sharing.
Hint, hint.
Yeah.
Well, that's absolutely cool, because I did not know that about the 9:41 a.m. and 100% battery.
I read that Apple picked that as a good time of day, and they always want their phones to look fully charged. They don't want someone to have 2% battery life.
The red bar at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you guys will let me try this here. I was going to show you. I think I mentioned, or I probably actually wrote it up at one point, but Microsoft came out with a collection here last summer, I think it was, or maybe early fall, but it's called Microsoft Classic Solitaire Collection, and it consists of 5 games. Now, you know that since day one, Solitaire has always been part of Microsoft Windows. And back in the days when I was forced to use Windows, back in Windows 95, 98, NT 2000, some of those, the one thing you could count on is that there was always free cell. You could always play free cell Solitaire. Well, this new game is actually pretty cool. It like I said, I think I wrote about it, but we never got a chance to really demonstrate it. I got my wife hooked on it. Now we're competing because you can go in every day. They have 5 challenges. And if the 5 challenges, some of them are easy, some of them are hard, some of them are expert. But it's rare when you get all 5 in a particular day. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started here. We'll do a quick share screen. Let's see. I'm getting sharing options, and I don't want to see those. I just want to share my screen. There we go. Okay, so this should come up momentarily here. And here we go. Okay, yeah. So you can see that this is actually going over AirPlay right into our application. But I'm going to go ahead and fire this app up. This is what you see. It's kind of the home with the home screen of it. You'll notice that I do have an Xbox name, and it's Apple Curmudgeon. I figure I'm old enough to be curmudgeonly, and I wanted them to know I was an Apple fan. But this game, or the collection here, does have 5 different games. You've got Klondike, which is kind of a classic game, Spider, Free Cell, which is the classic solitaire game for Microsoft Solitaire, and then 2 different ones called Pyramid and Tri-Peaks. So, you pop into one of these. Oops, I'm trying to click on it, and I need to use my iPad. This is a new feature that they just added the other day. Normally, you could just do a random deck, and it was either solvable or not. You didn't know, and the difficulty was really unknown. You can also select, and I'm clicking on the screen again, to draw 3 cards or 1 card at a time, and then 2 or 3 different types: standard, Vegas, and cumulative Vegas. I don't know what the Vegas versions are. I just keep playing standard. So anyway, when you play this game, you can also now do solvable decks, which means that there is a solution to it. There is a way of winning it. You just have to be good enough to do it. And at the expert level, I'm now winning more than I'm losing. So I feel pretty good about that. And actually, I'm not going to start up a game here. So hopefully it'll let me out of this. Let me see if I can just go in here. There we go. I got out of it. Okay, the daily challenges, like I said, it does 5 every day. And you can tell with the little blue ribbon there that I got every one of these today, but you have one for each one of the games, and you just have to try to win it. During the month, you can get a bronze, silver, gold, and diamond level score there. You just add up points during the month. You don't get anything for it. They have something they're suggesting calling Star Club, and I have no idea what that is, but I get the feeling that you might be able to play against other people over Xbox Live in the future. So that's kind of a guess there. And then they keep track of statistics and awards. It's just, if you like a good time waster, it's a wonderful time waster. It's really a lot of fun. It's easy to play, and definitely worth the try. It's a really kind of a fun app. And
is this iPad only, or will it go on iPhone as well?
iPhone as well. And the other cool thing about it is, well, I shouldn't say cool. The other thing about it is it's a subscription to get certain features in the app, and you can try it for free. If you like it, I highly recommend going for the subscription, because then you get all the little extras, like being able to they give you 1 extra level when you're playing some of the games, and little things like that. So kind of fun. Definitely worth the money. I give it a double thumbs up.
Yeah, that I remember fondly playing solitaire on the PC, so I had to visit that and check it out.
Yeah, the one thing I keep wishing is they'd come out with, remember the old Microsoft flight simulator?
Oh, absolutely.
The original version. And I remember playing, they had it for the Mac for a while, and it was horrible. And I keep wondering, it's like one of these days I'll do that. Of course, my favorite on iOS is X-Plane, which is an amazing flight simulator app. Kind of pricey, but definitely a lot of fun. So do you guys have, we've each, I think, shown an app here. Do you have any hardware you'd like to show off, or accessories?
Well, I will mention we haven't touched on iOS 10.3.1 dropped today,
yeah.
or shipped as just a sort of a maintenance release. But if you haven't, update your phone and other things.
Well, I just got this in the mail today, but I'll be reviewing that here. So it's a Electrofan Micro Wireless. It's has a dual purpose. It's a Bluetooth speaker for your iOS device, but it also comes with 10 sleep sounds, 5 fan, 4 white noise, and 1 ocean sound. I'm going to be going on vacation here soon, and I don't know, maybe I'm strange, but I like white noise when I'm sleeping at night. So we usually have a fan running at our house. So I'm used to that. So now I can have a mini fan when I travel and go on vacation. Now, there's also an app you can get for your iPhone and iPad that does this. But since this company, I guess, I'm not sure what the company is. I don't see it, and I won't sit and look for it. But I'll be taking this with me when my wife, daughter, and I go to the Grand Canyon here April 21st, 22nd, whatever it is, and see if it helps me sleep better on vacation. So I'll let everybody know, but just got this today and I'll be testing it out.
Nice. Yeah, I tell you, we have some neighbors who moved in a few years ago who have a tendency to like to party loudly in their backyard. And we ended up actually buying a white noise generator for the bedroom because, you know, even with with the windows closed, air conditioning on and stuff like that in the summer, you need to have that extra noise just to kind of cover up what's happening. And best investment we ever made. I wrote a review today of this thing, so I thought I'd show it on screen. This is the Spider Pro. It's a DSLR holster for carrying a digital SLR camera. And as you can see, I've got my Canon on here. It locked into place on this thing. I don't know if I can swing it around here. But one of the things you can do is lock it into place, and then you can just remove the camera. My only negative about it is there's this metal plate that's on the bottom that you screw in to be able to have this pin lock into the holster. The only negative about that is it blocks the battery compartment. So, you know, which is a little bit of a problem when you know, on occasion when you have to change batteries. The good thing is, though, is that you always have the tool that you need to remove the plate on the bottom of the camera. There's a little Allen wrench that's in its little slot here, and you use that to actually remove the plate. So, you know, I guess it'll probably take 5 seconds longer to do something like that, but I thought it was pretty cool. I always get, and when we go on our trips, I always get like neck aches and back aches and things like that, and shoulder aches from, you know, the traditional camera straps. So I thought I'd give this a try, and I got to admit, I'm really impressed with it. It puts all the weight onto your hips, and you don't feel it as much as you do having, you know, however much this thing weighs hanging off of a shoulder or your neck. So I gave it a 5-star review. I really was impressed with this, and well made. I think it's going to last for a long, long time.
Who makes it? What's the company that makes it?
You can find it at spiderholster.com.
Okay.
Very, very cool. So I gave the ad a double thumbs up too. Maybe 3 thumbs up if I can get the cat to come join me again here. He's checking it out on the floor going, what is this thing?
I can't use it. I don't know host thumbs.
Well, I think we're almost at an hour here, so we probably ought to call it a night. But as usual, what we'll do, I noticed we didn't have a tremendous number of live watchers tonight, but we will make this available, of course, on YouTube. It'll be out there almost immediately. You know, if it's anything like last week, we're going to get a lot of viewers. The one thing I was going to bring up is that we now have the capability of actually having our Team AWT members join us in here. And so we may be doing that here in the very, very near future. Later on this month, we'll give it a try and see how it works. We can, you know, bring people in and have them ask questions or make comments. So that should add a lot of fun to the entire process. And to do that, you definitely have to be a member of Team AWT. You can do that for $5 a month, and it helps support the website and bring you new media like this. So join today if you're not already a member. Guys, have anything else to bring up?
Just thanks for joining us.
I really like the format. I was going to, just at the very end, not to really comment on it, but show you one more quick little screen share that I thought you would enjoy, Steve. That is Major League Baseball app widget
Yes.
on the phone. I think that's the best widget there is on the phone. You slide that over, it shows you all the scores that are going on live. And you can just sit there and watch this widget, and it will update with the base runners, the scores. You don't have to refresh. It live updates. You can show less or certainly show more. And I wanted to share that because baseball season has just started. So that is a great widget. So, and I'm practicing a quick screen share and stopping real quick.
Well, I was going to say, one other important thing that you forgot to bring up there and you didn't show is that the Rockies won their first game today. So
I
go
saw
Rockies.
that. Thought of you when I saw that. So you and your favorite announcer.
Just don't get me going down that. Well, it's funny because I both my wife and I have gone ahead and gotten the AWT subscription for the season, so we can listen to the opposing team's announcer instead
But
of.
did y'all do like the $20 just for the audio? Or
Yeah.
I think it's the best $20 you can buy, even if you just casually like baseball. It is a great.
Yeah, $20 for the season. It's pretty unbelievable. I mean, that's not bad at all.
I might next
And,
week, not to bore people with it, but for an on-screen demo, show a little bit more of the details of what that app can do, video replays, graphics of the batter, where the ball goes. It's really a lot for $20. So we'll see if the readers clamor for it or if they say no more. We'll see.
No, actually, I think it's really worth a demo because Major League Baseball properties, they have an amazing development group. And you talk about a sport that has really embraced the iPhone and iPad and pretty much anything mobile. They've done a phenomenal job. And
They have,
we really have to.
well, I was going to say the infrastructure, how it works. There can be a great play. Yesterday, for the first time ever, a pitcher hit 2 home runs on opening day. That's never happened
Yeah.
before. Never. In 100+ years of baseball. But as soon as it happens, the replays are available for the $20 per subscription.
And I think even today, Bumgardner is still the
Home run leader.
home run leader. So, but yeah, this being able to pull up the stats and everything, even if you're not a real big baseball fan, it's a heck of an app. I mean, it's just
And it's
incredible.
absolutely high definition. It looks so good. So anyway, I know we were going to sign off, but I got a little excited there about the baseball app.
Well, I get to share one more screen. We'll all say goodnight, and then we're going to show the outro, which is the same as the intro. Maybe I'll have to make a separate outro or something, but we'll see everybody next week. Actually, I'm probably not going to be here, but these two guys, let's see, they're in. I can't point in the right direction there. It's kind of reversed. These two guys will definitely be there. You didn't know that, did you? You guys get to fly solo next week.
We did not.
We didn't know this either, viewers.
No, we just learned it now.
Yeah, there's something that came up, and rather than keep our viewers in suspense, and this is a good thing because if I go on a trip, you guys will take over. Yeah. And it's really easy.
Yeah, you can also broadcast from your phone anywhere. Just a reminder.
Good point. It may be real slow, but this Zoom service, maybe I will be able to podcast from a cruise ship finally, unless they block it, which they've been known to do. Anyway, for Apple World today, Steve Sandy, Dennis Sellers, Marty Edwards. We'll see you again next Monday night, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, 9:30 Eastern time. Thanks for watching, and be sure to visit the website, appleworld.today. Have a great evening, and hopefully I can get this outro playing here. Let's see. Here we go. Bye.